Number 10. The Phantom Lights. In March 2003, commercial divers operating at 1,200 meters off the Mariana Trench witnessed something that shouldn't exist in the crushing darkness of the Bathy Pelagic Zone. During routine pipeline inspection, 3 crew members reported geometric formations of blue-white light, pulsing in perfect synchronization, maintaining their triangular configuration for nearly 4 minutes. Marine biologists officially attributed these displays to coordinated dinoflagellate blooms reacting to the submersible's movements, but subsequent analysis revealed the lights exhibited wavelengths outside the known spectrum of any bioluminescent organism. Most disturbing was their behavior. Unlike plankton or deep-sea creatures which scatter when disturbed, these formations track the submersible's trajectory with apparent purpose. Between 2003 and 2011, 17 separate dive operations across different Pacific trenches reported similar geometric light formations. During a 2008 expedition near the Kermadec Trench, oceanographer Dr. Marcus Whitfield captured footage of triangular formations that reconfigured into squares, then pentagons, before dispersing when lights were extinguished. Scientists have proposed various explanations from undiscovered colonial organisms to exotic chemiluminescent reactions triggered by pressure changes to previously unknown bioluminescence coordination mechanisms. Yet none account for the mathematical precision or apparent tracking of mechanical objects. If these are merely reactive organisms, why do they repeatedly manifest in geometric configurations, demonstrating what observers described as purposeful movement? Number 9. The Breathing Rock. In November 2007, geologists conducting surveys at 2,600 meters in the Java Trench documented something that contradicts fundamental principles of deep-sea geology. The submersible's cameras captured massive rock formations that appeared to expand and contract in rhythmic cycles, each pulse lasting approximately 47 seconds. The formations exhibited movement patterns suggesting respiration, despite being composed of solid basalt and sedimentary rock. Marine geologists attributed the phenomenon to tidal forces creating visual distortions combined with specific lighting angles. But subsequent missions using fixed-position cameras documented the same rhythmic expansion over 6-hour observation periods, regardless of tidal cycles. Between 2007 and 2015, similar breathing formations were observed on 8 separate dives across 4 different Hadal zones. Most troubling was the consistency. Regardless of location or depth variation, the formations maintained the 47-second cycle with impossible precision. During the 2013 observation, instruments detected electromagnetic fluctuations synchronized with each expansion phase, patterns one NOAA scientist described as bearing uncomfortable similarity to cardiac rhythms. Scientists have proposed explanations from unknown sediment compaction properties to exotic methane seepage mechanisms to electromagnetic effects from mineral deposits. Yet, what makes these formations truly mysterious isn't just their violation of known geology, but their apparent coordination across vast distances. If these are natural pressure release mechanisms, why do formations separated by thousands of kilometers maintain identical rhythmic patterns? Number 8. The vertical migration. In February 2012, marine biologists tracking deep-sea species near the Tonga Trench witnessed something that defied every known principle of pressure adaptation. A massive bioluminescent entity, estimated at 18 meters in length, was observed ascending from depths exceeding 8,400 meters to approximately 900 meters in less than 4 minutes. What research lead Dr. Sarah Nakamura described as an impossible ascent. The creature's rate of vertical movement would subject any known organism to pressure changes causing catastrophic cellular rupture within seconds. Marine biologists initially suggested multiple organisms creating an illusion of continuous movement, but frame-by-frame analysis confirmed a single continuous entity, maintaining structural integrity throughout the ascent with no signs of decompression trauma. Most disturbing was what happened at the 900-meter threshold. Instead of continuing upward, it maintained position for 16 seconds before descending again at the same impossible speed, disappearing into Hadal darkness as if crushing pressure differential meant nothing to its biology. Between 2012 and 2020, similar vertical migrations were documented 13 times across different trenches. Each sighting shared consistent characteristics. Immense size far exceeding catalogued species, distinctive blue-green bioluminescence, and ascent rates biological models indicate would be instantly lethal. Scientists have proposed theories from unknown cellular adaptations, allowing rapid pressure equalization to exotic gas-filled chambers, maintaining integrity across extreme gradients to entirely new categories of deep-sea life. Yet none explain the movement speed, or why these entities remain in the most hostile depths, rather than colonizing resource-rich mesopelagic zones. Number 7. The Shadow Formation. In August 2014, divers operating a submersible at 4,200 meters in the Philippine Trench observed something that appeared to respond directly to their presence, with intentional avoidance, while illuminating the trench floor with high-intensity spotlights. The crew noticed areas of absolute darkness moving in coordinated patterns, maintaining position relative to the light source, rather than behaving as conventional shadows. When operators dimmed lights, the dark formations remained visible against ambient bioluminescence. When they increased intensity, the shadows retreated, then reformed at a consistent 12-meter distance. Oceanographers attributed this to optical artifacts from suspended sediment interacting with the lighting array. Yet analysis revealed the formations moved at speeds exceeding 12 knots, impossible for sediment drift at depths where currents rarely exceed 2 knots. Between 2014 and 2022, similar shadow phenomena were documented on 9 separate dives. Each incident shared key characteristics. The formations appeared only when artificial light activated. They maintained geometric relationships during movement, and most unsettling, they demonstrated what operators described as avoidance behavior when approached directly. During a 2019 observation, sonar detected no physical mass within the shadow regions, yet video showed displacement of water and seafloor sediment disturbance. Scientists have proposed explanations from unknown light absorption properties of exotic organisms to complex interference patterns between artificial illumination and bioluminescent organisms to optical effects from temperature inversions. What makes these shadow formations particularly disturbing is their apparent awareness of observation. If these are merely optical phenomena, why do they consistently demonstrate behaviors associated with sentient entities maintaining distance from threats? Number 6. The Resonance Chamber. In May 2016, a deep-sea archaeological team investigating a seamount at 3,800 meters discovered a cavern system exhibiting acoustic properties that shouldn't exist under those pressure conditions. When the ROV's sonar pinged the interior, returning echoes formed harmonic patterns repeating in mathematical sequences. More impossibly, the chamber appeared to amplify and sustain sounds for durations exceeding 40 seconds, despite water pressure and density that should dampen acoustic propagation almost instantly. Marine acousticians suggested the cave created a natural waveguide effect through specific geometric configurations acting as resonators, but three-dimensional mapping revealed no unusual geometric properties accounting for the sustained resonance or mathematical precision of harmonic sequences. What made the discovery truly baffling was the chamber's apparent response to specific frequencies. When researchers broadcast test tones at varying pitches, certain frequencies triggered responses from deeper within, emanations bearing no relationship to input sounds. Mission lead, Dr. James Whitmore, described responses as echoes that had been transformed rather than simply reflected. Between 2016 and 2021, 4 separate teams explored the chamber, each documenting the same phenomenon. Most disturbing was what occurred during the final 2021 expedition. The team broadcast prime number sequences encoded as acoustic pulses. 17 minutes later, instruments detected a response pattern that mirrored the sequence exactly, then extended it with additional prime numbers the team had not transmitted. Scientists have proposed explanations from exotic mineral deposits, creating piezoelectric effects to unknown organism colonies, producing coordinated vocalizations to complex fluid dynamics, creating feedback loops. Yet none account for the mathematical precision or why the phenomenon intensified over successive visits, as if the chamber were learning. Number 5. The Thermal Bloom. In January 2018, oceanographers monitoring hydrothermal vent systems at 5,600 meters near the Mid-Atlantic Ridge detected temperature anomalies violating known thermodynamic principles governing heat dissipation in seawater. A massive column of superheated water, measuring 40 meters in diameter, appeared to maintain its thermal energy while rising through progressively colder water layers that should have rapidly dissipated the heat. The plume ascended more than 2,000 meters, while instruments recorded internal temperatures remaining constant at 187 degrees Celsius. Marine geologists initially attributed this to an undiscovered hydrothermal vent, channeling heat through insulating mineral formations. But sonar mapping revealed no vent structure at the origin point, only flat abyssal plain with no geological features capable of producing such thermal output. More disturbing was the plume's movement pattern. Unlike conventional hydrothermal activity rising in predictable convection patterns, this thermal column drifted horizontally across the seafloor for nearly 8 kilometers over 6 hours before dissipating, moving against prevailing deep ocean currents. Between 2018 and 2023, similar thermal blooms were documented at 7 locations across different ocean basins. Each manifestation shared impossible characteristics: sustained temperature during vertical travel, horizontal mobility independent of currents, and most puzzling, apparent periodic nature. Research stations monitoring 3 locations recorded blooms emerging at precisely 63-day intervals. During the 2022 observation, instruments detected unusual electromagnetic signatures within the thermal column, patterns geophysicist Dr. Elena Rodriguez described as organized rather than chaotic, structured in ways suggesting information rather than random thermal noise. Scientists have proposed theories from previously unknown chemical reactions, generating sustained heat, to exotic interactions between Earth's magnetic field and mineral-rich water, to unidentified tectonic processes. What natural mechanism could transport thermal energy through crushing depths while defying heat dissipation laws governing every other oceanic thermal process we've documented? Number 4, the divided consciousness. In September 2019, 3 commercial divers conducting repairs on undersea cables at 1,800 meters simultaneously experienced something that continues to defy medical and neurological explanation. While working near the Cayman Trench, all 3 reported sudden temporal distortion, and what lead diver Robert Kessler described as perceiving the environment from multiple viewpoints simultaneously, as if consciousness had separated from singular perspective and distributed itself across space. The incident lasted 94 seconds according to submersible logs, though all 3 reported the experience feeling like nearly 20 minutes. Upon surfacing, each diver independently described identical visual details from positions they had not physically occupied, observations later confirmed by helmet camera footage analysis. They reported seeing themselves from external viewpoints, watching their own movements from angles that should have been impossible. The diving company's medical team attributed the incident to nitrogen narcosis, despite all 3 operating well within safe depth parameters using heliox gas mixtures, specifically formulated to prevent narcotic effects. Standard hyperbaric medicine couldn't account for the shared nature or verified accuracy of impossible observations. What made the incident particularly troubling was persistence of psychological effects. All 3 reported recurring episodes of multi-perspective perception for weeks after surfacing, always triggered when entering enclosed spaces or viewing deep water footage. Between 2019 and 2024, similar consciousness distortions were reported in 11 separate incidents across different ocean regions. Psychiatric evaluations revealed no pre-existing conditions. All held extensive certifications and had completed hundreds of previous deep descents without incident. Brain scans showed temporary alterations in areas associated with spatial perception and temporal processing, changes persisting for weeks before gradually normalizing. Medical researchers have proposed explanations from localized pressure variations affecting neurotransmitter function to previously unknown dissolved gas properties, creating neurological disruptions to electromagnetic fields from underwater cables, interfering with brain activity. Yet hyperbaric chamber tests have failed to reproduce the effects, and affected divers show no abnormal biochemical markers. Perhaps at certain depths, where pressure approaches limits of human tolerance, we encounter not only external mysteries, but internal transformations that reveal how little we understand about consciousness itself. Number 3, the light corridor. In December 2020, a research submersible descending through the Challenger Deep at 9,100 meters encountered a phenomenon violating fundamental principles of optical physics governing light propagation in water. The crew observed a vertical column of pale blue light extending from the seafloor upward into darkness, maintaining perfect coherence despite pressure conditions that should scatter any conventional light source within meters. The beam measured approximately 4 meters in diameter and appeared to emanate from no visible source. When the submersible passed through the column, instruments recorded light wavelengths that don't exist in Earth's known electromagnetic spectrum, frequencies the vessel's spectrometer categorized as measurement errors because they fell outside physically possible photon energies. Optical physicists suggested the phenomenon might represent bioluminescence from unknown organisms, somehow amplified through undocumented water properties at extreme pressure. But the light exhibited zero diffusion, maintaining perfectly parallel edges throughout its vertical extent, tracked to at least 1,400 meters above the seafloor. This behavior is impossible for any biological light source. Between 2020 and 2024, similar light corridors were observed at 5 Hadal Zone locations, always at depths exceeding 9,000 meters. Each manifestation appeared during specific lunar phases, suggesting tidal influences, yet the correlation defied known mechanisms by which moon cycles could affect luminescent phenomena at those depths. During the 2023 observation, instruments detected particles within the beam accelerating to velocities exceeding 400 meters per second, speeds requiring energy inputs, orders of magnitude beyond anything available in the deep ocean. Scientists have proposed explanations from exotic chemiluminescent reactions to electromagnetic phenomena, from tectonic stress creating coherent light through piezoelectric effects to quantum optical effects, where pressure alters fundamental photon behavior. What process could organize photons with such geometric precision in the most extreme pressure conditions on Earth? Number 2, the garden. In April 2021, marine biologists exploring a seamount at 6,800 meters discovered formations challenging the very definition of geological versus biological classification. Covering approximately 2,000 square meters of seafloor, intricate structures rose in branching patterns resembling coral or plant life, yet were composed entirely of metallic compounds, primarily iron and manganese, with trace elements including vanadium and molybdenum that don't occur together in known natural mineral deposits. The formations exhibited growth rings visible under magnification, suggesting development over decades, despite the absence of any biological mechanism that could direct metal accumulation into such organized architecture. Geochemists attributed the structures to exotic precipitation processes, minerals crystallizing from hydrothermal fluids under unique pressure, and temperature combinations found only at Hadal depths. Yet, laboratory attempts to reproduce the formations under simulated conditions produced only random crystalline clusters bearing no resemblance to the geometric complexity observed. What made the garden truly mysterious was its apparent maintenance. When the research team revisited the site 6 months later, areas damaged by the submersible's sampling arm had regenerated, new growth filling gaps with structures matching surrounding patterns exactly. The repairs showed no signs of random mineral deposition, but precise reconstruction of original architecture. Between 2021 and 2024, 3 subsequent expeditions documented continued expansion at rates inconsistent with any known mineralization process. Time-lapse photography revealed growth occurring over weeks rather than geological timescales required for conventional mineral precipitation. More disturbing was apparent responsive behavior. Sections grew denser in areas where the submersible had repeatedly collected samples, as if compensating for material removal. Scientists have proposed theories from previously unknown extremophile organisms, incorporating metals through exotic biochemistry, to abiotic self-organizing systems, where electromagnetic fields guide metal ions to entirely new forms of matter organization, emerging under Hadal pressure and chemistry. Perhaps at the boundary between Earth's crust and ocean, there exist phenomena that force us to reconsider how we categorize the processes creating structure and complexity. Number 1, the abyssal void. In February 2023, during a classified deep-sea research operation in the Mariana Trench at 10,400 meters, a 3-person submersible crew encountered something that continues to defy explanation and prompted immediate establishment of a restricted dive zone spanning 50 square kilometers. Commander David Park, pilot Sarah Chen, and oceanographer Dr. James Whitmore were conducting geological surveys when all instrument systems simultaneously malfunctioned in ways diagnostic analysis later confirmed should have been physically impossible given the vessel's redundant systems and electromagnetic shielding. For approximately 127 seconds, according to recovered data logs, the crew experienced what all three independently described in formal debriefings as passage through a region where physical reality appeared to fundamentally break down. During the incident, the submersible's external cameras recorded only absolute darkness, not the expected blackness of deep ocean, but what Chen described in her classified report as an absence of dimension itself, as if the vessel had passed beyond the boundaries of measurable space. Most disturbing were the temporal effects documented by multiple independent timekeeping systems. While mission logs and atomic clocks recorded the anomaly lasting just over 2 minutes, all three crew members reported experiencing nearly 40 minutes of subjective time. Their accounts described sensations of extreme spatial distortion, where the submersible's interior seemed to simultaneously expand to impossible dimensions and compress to claustrophobic tightness. Upon returning to normal instrument function, the vessel's GPS positioning data showed it had traveled 340 meters horizontally during the event, and despite no propulsion systems being active, and ocean currents at that depth averaging less than 0.2 knots. The displacement occurred perpendicular to all known current patterns. More troubling were the profound psychological effects that persisted long after surfacing. All three crew members, despite extensive psychological screening and decades of combined deep-sea experience, reported overwhelming sensations of being observed by something within the void region, what Park described as a presence they characterized as vast and fundamentally incomprehensible. Brain scans conducted immediately after surfacing revealed temporary alterations in areas associated with spatial perception and temporal processing, structural changes that persisted for weeks before gradually normalizing. All three reported recurring episodes of spatial disorientation for months afterward. Moments where normal three-dimensional space seemed to briefly collapse into incomprehensible configurations. Since 2023, all submersible operations below 10,000 meters in that region have been officially prohibited, pending completion of a classified research initiative codenamed Project Hadal. Theoretical oceanographers have proposed explanations from localized space-time distortions caused by extreme gravitational effects in subduction zones to quantum field fluctuations that briefly alter fundamental physical constants to electromagnetic anomalies from mineral deposits interfering with human neurology. Some researchers privately suggest these incidents might represent areas where our universe interfaces with higher dimensional structures predicted by string theory, boundaries where the fabric of observable reality becomes permeable. Yet none of these theories adequately explain the temporal distortion experienced by multiple observers with independent time measurements, the impossible spatial displacement of a multi-ton vessel, or the shared psychological effects suggesting the crew encountered something that affected consciousness directly. The deepest reaches of our ocean remain more alien to us than the surface of Mars. We have mapped distant planets with greater resolution than our own Hadal zones. Despite technological advances allowing us to survive briefly at these crushing depths, we have barely begun to comprehend what exists in the perpetual darkness where sunlight has never penetrated. These phenomena force us to confront a humbling truth. Perhaps at extreme depths, there exist aspects of reality that human consciousness was never designed to perceive. Perhaps in descending beyond the light, we occasionally brush against boundaries where our carefully constructed models of physics, biology, and awareness itself begin to unravel. In the vast darkness of the abyss, there may be things that observe us in return. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now and make sure to subscribe.